Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France. You know, those sophisticated European countries, which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. Now, close your eyes. Let's just do a little, very easy experiment in your head, okay? Imagine that you have an Hermès bag, and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China, while everything else, like leathers, zippers, and hardware, remain the same. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before? If you do, that means you have been misled and poisoned by the market campaign of those luxury brands for too long. Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China by our intelligent and diligent Chinese artisans. Let's not be poisoned and misled by the market campaign any longer and be a real person. Buy a bag from us, from our factory in China. See the real world for yourself.
Yo, welcome back to the real world. You thought your Hermès was made in France? That Gucci came straight out of Mila. Hate to break it to you, but the label lied. And China, oh, they just put the curtain all the way back. Right now, the luxury bag industry is getting exposed like never before. China, yes, the same China you all throw shade at is the real engine behind those $1,000 bags. The stitches, Chinese. The leatherwork, Chinese. The hustle, all the way Chinese. And Americans, man, they are panicking, debating, some straight up denying. But the truth is loud, is global, is trending. In today's video, we are diving deep into how Chinese factories are exposing the luxury fashion game and how Americans reacting. From backroom deals in Shenzhen to inflated price tags in New York, this is the great unraveling of the so-called high-end. If you ever saved for a Louis, stood up in line for a Chanel, or flexed and Hermès like loyalty, you need to see this. Hit that like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's unpack the truths. Welcome back to the channel. The gig is up. Let's go.
Y'all say I paid full price for a Louis, Gucci, Prada, Versace, any of that shit that is made in China, I'ma laugh at you. Yep. Cause I just found out that all them hoes are the same. If you got your Gucci from DHgate, bitch, it's the same Gucci in the stores. It just got a label. Y'all ain't doing nothing but paying for a label. You label whores are about to be so pressed and so mad because y'all are not actually buying anything worth of substance. Y'all buying the same shit that we buy on DHgate, which I ain't ever bought anything from DHgate, but now I am. I'm going to go get me a Gucci purse from DHgate because I didn't know that was the same thing. But China just got on this goddamn platform and said, you're basically buying the same thing. The only thing you're actually really paying for is the label. We are all producing these mass productions in the same fucking place. Bruh. Jordans too. Get all your shit from DHgate. It's all the same now. If I see
Seen these videos come up on your timeline of China exposing the US to the rest of the world in the most petty but effective way by showing how the typical American buyer is actively getting scammed in real time every single day. If you've paid for Lululemon, you've been scammed. If you've paid for Gucci, you've been scammed. If you've paid for any of these up-end designer brands, you've most likely been scammed. You see, China is actively fighting back against J.D. Vance's claims against the Chinese peasants only being able to produce scraps to which the Americans tend to import. We are finding out in real time how the most expensive luxury brands within the Western world are actively scamming Americans by saying that their products are built and manufactured in European countries like Italy or France, when in reality, without China, they would be nothing. All of these companies are seeming to do is have their products manufactured actually in China, then import it into somewhere like France or Italy, and then slap that logo on in that respective country so that they can say that it's made in Italy or made in France. And of course, what a lot of Americans are now realizing now is that the reason as to why they're paying that super expensive price for that designer brand is because it was made in Italy. But in actuality, it's made in China. And if it said that it was made in China, it would bring down the price exponentially. And this is why people say not to pay for these designer brands, because you're not paying for the quality, you're paying for the logo. I don't know, personally, the 200-day free visa to actually shop authentically in China is sounding pretty tempting. So you've likely seen these videos come up on your timeline of
I'm so confused because Hermès clearly purports that all of their bags are handmade in France and their watches are made in Switzerland. In their verbiage, there is no room for confusion about where their products are manufactured. There's no room for China. But in the beginning of that video, that nice Chinese man is clearly standing in front of what appear to be Hermès bags, saying that these are the bags that we manufacture. I noticed he didn't say Hermès when he called out all the brands like Prada, Louis Vuitton, Coach. But the implication was very clearly there. And if Hermès products, specifically their bags, are made from beginning to end in France, why would their valuation drop with the news that Chinese manufacturers are spilling the tea? It says right here on their website, the vast majority of our products are manufactured in France. And they talk about sourcing cashmere from Mongolia, blah, blah, blah. But absolutely nothing about China. And those purses that man was standing in front of were identical to Hermès bags, correct? So does that mean Hermès is lying to us? At least lying by omission? Or are their bags beginning to end manufactured, designed, whatever, in France? I'm so confused.
So now we know why America really didn't want us to see what they was doing over in China. And if you don't know, click the search bar and see how China just exposed America. That designer that you've been spending your money on, $200, $300, $400, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, all of your hard-earned money basically been going to knockoffs. If that's what y'all want to call them, Canal Street specials, if I might say. China is basically saying that your favorite designer gets their bags, their clothes, their shoes made in China, not Italy. So when you thinking you getting the finest of threads, you getting them from China. And now China is saying that they got them for the low, like they been had them, but they just not keeping it a secret no more. So what they're saying is that designer that we've been wearing, they've been making, and they make it for cheaper, and we might as well not buy that designer that we've been buying. It's kind of strange to me because a lot of people been losing their lives to get designer. It's a lot of people that lost their lives over designer. And you're telling me that China's been making it? All I can say is this trade war is exposing the real from the fake and the fake from the real. If that makes sense. I'm out.
It ain't no way we been getting finessed like this, y'all. And China just exposed it all. So boom, Americans out here dropping 800, 1200, and even 4,000 and more on designer clothes, thinking it's all luxury, all high quality clothes, the high end stuff. But China just pulled the curtain back and showed the world that most of the stuff is made in the same factories with material that costs a fraction of the price. So we're talking shoes that cost $30 to make, but it's being sold in US for $700. And we're talking hoodies that cost $10 to make, that's being sold for over $300. And jeans that cost $50 to make, that's being sold for $500 to $1,000. That's not high end. That's robbery. Y'all, and this is the crazy thing. This is not even new. A lot of people just been blind to it. They think it just because it got a fancy label, that means it costs more. In reality, that just means the markups is better. China basically said, here y'all go. Now y'all better act like you know. And now everybody mad. They not mad at China. They mad at the brands that been overpricing this stuff they've been buying. They mad at the brands that they've been worshiping. See a sucker, lick a sucker, no diddy. They seeing now, they were never buying quality. They were buying status. And they finally waking up. All of this happened because of this tariffs. people would have never knew. Or some people was really too blind to even notice the fact. But now everything is front and center for everybody to see. So if you one of them people that dropped the check on this designer shit and now you feel played, let me know down below in the comments. Let's talk about it.
Talking about China, y'all might as well know the luxury bag game has been exposed. It has. I'm telling you right now. Now, clearly for years, the people who've been making off those knockoff Louis Vuitton bags have been getting the discarded materials from actual Louis Vuitton. That's been exposed. And you may find craftsmen who will put the bag together faster for you, so the quality or stitching may be here or there off. But for the most part, if you get a good quality knockoff, it's basically the same materials. You're just not getting that quality craftsman that's putting it together. Now, sure, there's some shit out there, but I'm gonna tell you now, since these China tariffs and this whole trade war and how these China influencers have literally blew the market off of luxury bags and how cheap it is to make a Chanel bag and how much they mark it up in the Chanel store. If y'all are still paying full price for these luxury goods, shame on you. You just need to find out and know where to get the very good imitations, because they're technically the same bag, if that matters to you. Now, you want to be on the waiting list for years to get an Hermès, or you can go to Shanghai. Go to the AP market, go all the way into a back room to the back room to the back room. You're getting the same motherfucking bag, made faster, quicker, and cheaper. China has rolled back its stringent policy on knockoff bags because of the tariffs and the trade war that U.S. has started. And I'm telling you right now, DH Gate and Ally Express, the bags on there are about to be just as expensive and just as relevant as the actual bags are from the actual stores. If you know, you know. I'm telling you right now. Y'all are literally paying for the designer name if you're going into these stores and buying the actual real bag. I know some of y'all get the thrill of saving and going in there and you're giving these people your hard-earned money, but if you find a good, like that episode of Sex and the City where Carrie took Samantha to that trunk in the valley, same motherfucking deal. Two rules though. You got to know what the fuck you're looking at, and you got to know what the real thing looks like. If you have no education on any kind of bags you're looking for, you might be just buying shit. You got to know what you're doing. But these bags are out there to be had. I'm telling you now, if that's your thing. I'm just saying, the gig is up. The luxury goods bag market is up. These luxury retailers know that the materials to make these bags don't negate the actual high cost of them in the stores in America. And this tariff and trade war has exposed that shit. I'm telling y'all right now. Do your homework. Everybody can be walking around here with a designer bag if you want, if that's your thing. Maybe you might want to buy eggs though, since y'all said the egg prices were too high. And you can't eat an Hermès bag. Ain't no protein in that.
Let's talk facts, not feelings, not fantasy, facts. More than 80% of luxury handbags today are made in China. Yes, China, the same country that has been ridiculed for years as the epicenter of fakes, knockoffs and cheap labor. But here's the twist. The very brand that have built their image around European luxury, Hermès, Chanel, Louis Vuitton and others, are quietly relying on Chinese manufacturing, not just for parts or materials. We are talking about almost finished products. These bags are crafted with precision by highly skilled Chinese artisans, many of whom have been trained and contracted by the same luxury brands. Yet, instead of stamping them with made in China, they are shipped to Europe, where finishing touches like stitches on a logo or attaching a handle are completed in Italy or France. Why? So they can legally label it as made in Italy. That is the loophole. And guess what? That tiny details is what makes consumers believe they are buying something elite. Let that sink in. This isn't speculation, this is conspiracy. This is the industry standard practice, but luxury brands will never admit it because the truth rules the illusion. They sell mysticals, exclusivity, royal fantasy, a lifestyle and made in China doesn't fit that fairy tale, not yet at least. But China is no longer playing silent partner. Influencers, vloggers, and even ex-factory workers are starting to speak up. They are showing the real cost of manufacturing, the real source of materials, and how the prices you are paying at the boutique are 10, 15, sometimes 20 times higher than the actual cost to make the bag. And that is why we are here today, because the illusion is breaking. Now let's address the reaction. In the US, consumers are starting to feel duped, not because the bags are poor quality. They are not. Chinese manufacturers are producing high caliber work. In fact, in some cases, they are more efficient, more model, and even more constant than their European counterparts. The betrayal comes from the lie, from the years of branding, marketing, and elite storytelling that conditional people to associate luxury only with Europe. Let's take a moment here. If the leather, the hardware, the zippers, the craftsman all remain the same, but the label changes from made in France to made in China, why does your perception shift? If you felt the bag lost value the second label changed, then congratulations, you are not just buying a product, you are buying into an idea, a narrative, and a narrative that is exactly what these brands have sold to you. So when people now go on the Hedgegate or AliExpress or walk into those hidden backrooms in Shenzhen, they are not just hunting for knockoffs anymore, they are hunting for value. And some of these knockoffs, let's be real, they are not made in someone's basement. They are made by the same people using the same materials in the same industry zones as the originals. You just don't get the certificate or the boutique experience. They are an entire underground economy striving on this reality. You have a factory seconds, bags made in the same facility but rejected for a minor stitch error. You have after hours bags made with leftover materials by the same workers. Then you have mirror copies bags that are indistinguishable from the real thing unless you are satisfied on TikTok. And you did be shocked how many real bags on resale markets were actually purchased that way. Here's the kicker. The luxury houses know. They know all of this, but they have built their profit model on perception, not transparency. And they rely on the fact that most consumers would dig deeper. They count on your ignorance and your loyalty. But the tides are turning. This trade war, these tariffs, they have exposed more than just economic tension. They have cracked open the truth about global manufacturing. And suddenly, people are starting to realize $6,000 bag might only cost $300 to make. And that remaining $5,700 you are paying for illusion, brand identity, and gatekeeping. Americans are now split. Some are doubling down, still swearing by the boutique experience while still defending the label. And that is fine. If the name matters to you, if the status is worth the premium, spend your money how you want. But the growing numbers of the people choosing to bypass the system, they are not cheap, they are informed. There is a huge difference between blindly buying luxury and understanding luxury. The former is emotional, the latter is strategic. Now, don't get me wrong. Luxury is still a flex, is still a desirable, but at least now people are beginning to see behind the curtain. They are questioning the markup, they are valuing the work, not just the name. And if you are someone who believes in real quality and craftsmanship, well, maybe it's time to give credit where it's long overdue. To Chinese artisans, to the hidden hands behind the scene, to the factories that built your fantasy but never got the credits. So next time someone clowns you for a made in China label, tell them this your bag might have been born in the same place. Might just keep the line. And honestly, that is the real luxury. If you got something out of this, drop your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, I want to hear it. Smash that like button if you are seeing the industry a little clearer now. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never stop asking where your story and your stuffs really comes from. Peace.